Would you like me to give us a count or anything? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Does it seem to be working okay?
Yeah.
When Scotty's at the controls, you just kind of have a feeling of confidence. Somehow or other, he'll figure it out. Although I was surprised to find out he's still using Windows 98. Jeepers, what time does the ball game start?
5, I think.
5? We'll be there. You got your hat, your shirt, and everything ready?
It's all set to go, yeah.
Did she have it on yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Peter has his too.
Who was that? Oh, okay. That's good. Yeah, I've got mine around too somewhere. I've got it in the closet. Or
That would help.
What she said?
That would help.
Okay, good. Wow. Yeah, when Sheila first found out that one of my boyhood heroes was Rocky Marciano, she sent me a lot of things, clippings and stuff with Rocky. And I think recently she sent me a book. I believe James read it, or was reading it.
In the middle of reading it.
You still reading it? I don't know how long, if any of you, how long you've been meditating or closing your eyes. I presume some of you have probably been meditating for quite a long time, and probably some of you don't. But for those of you who do meditate on a fairly regular basis, have you noticed that when you're meditating with a group of people, how it's so much deeper?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, as opposed to when you meditate by yourself. There's a deepening, a quieting down, so that and that points to really the main benefit of a gathering is this part, is the quiet part. You know, because we can talk about anything, and we generally do, but it's the quiet part that is sort of the healing that goes on. And just like in the morning, for those of you who show up for the quiet part, it's the quiet time that does the healing. Because ultimately all healing is in silence. Words sometimes just get in the way. And so that if you're ever with someone who's sick, you know, the best unless you're a physician or a healer, or some, you know, that's your discipline. If you're not, then the best healing we can do is just be quiet with them. Not even necessarily say everything's going to be okay, you know, because, you know, just to sit silently and hold a person's hand or just put your hand on them some way does a lot of good, more so than sitting saying it's going to be okay and don't worry about things like that. So any comments or questions, or everything's okay?
Wayne, I'd like to say something.
Just kind of like the little dog in the window. You want to come up here?
No, I want to say it to Joni.
I'm sorry?
I want to say something to Joni,
Okay.
but I kind of want everyone to witness it.
Excuse me?
Would you like to stand up here or anything?
No, not really.
Okay.
At the moment, I feel like you don't respect my personal boundaries. At the moment, it feels like there's no space for me to come towards you because you're always coming towards me. So it's like I'm continually having to run away from you. And it sucks. on some level, my relationship with you at the moment, for me, just sucks. And I just want to have a relationship with you that's clean. And just that little incident that happened before Satsang started. I don't know.
So what are you feeling inside?
Pissed off.
Anger?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
Is it just, does this just happen with Joni, or is it sort of something
no,
that
Joni's the only person that's come up with on this gathering.
What would you like her to do? If she could.
I'd like her just to be more respectful of my space and not assume things, or, you know, you ask me a question, I answer it, and then you keep coming back with more, like that's not enough, you want more. Then you walk behind me and you pinch my neck like it's in a fun thing. It didn't feel like a fun thing. It felt like, fuck off, Joni, don't fucking pinch my neck. It just... You know, there's people here that they're still, and I'm almost attracted to come towards them because they're so still. It's like there's so much space to come towards them, and I can still have some freedom in that. But with you, it seems like it's almost like I can't come towards you. I don't know if any of this makes any fucking sense, but does it?
I don't know, you said you want our relationship to be clean.
Yeah.
How will you know that's so? How will you know?
I'll just know.
So, Joni, so hearing that, what comes up for you by hearing that? Pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
Does anything come up at all, or no?
Nothing's coming up except for wondering how James would define our relationship as clean. How will he know?
Would you want to come up here?
Do I want to come
Yeah?
up? Do you want me to come up
Yeah,
here?
come here.
Yeah.
So he said that. Can you face me? So just you and I have a conversation. You and I know each other for a long time now, years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let's just you and I have a conversation for a bit. And I have no plan where this conversation is going to go, okay? Good. So we'll take some space here. See if it comes up. By the way, I'm not trying to model anything here for anybody. But all of us have been in situations where we want to talk with somebody, and generally what gets in the way is we think we have to say something right away, okay? So a lot of times if we're going to have a conversation with somebody, it's best just to kind of, we don't have to say anything right away. Let's just see what comes up. But something did come up for me listening to what James said. Now, I'm not saying what James said is so or not. It's him and you. It's not me. Okay? So I can't say that James is right or James is wrong or James should have said this a different way. He said what he said. So when I asked you how you felt, you basically waved it off.
No.
Okay, good. So how did you feel?
I just felt like I was listening very carefully to what he was saying. And the question that came to me was, how would he know when our relationship is clear?
Okay.
Because he said or clean. He said clean. Did you say clean or clear? He said he would like our relationship to be clean.
Mm-hmm.
So the thought I had was, How will he know that?
What would that look like to him?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. What does that mean to you?
That means he feels there's something between us.
Okay.
That's a barrier or something.
Okay, so he was pretty clear in his speaking there that there was something there, and he felt like he was being pushed.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that's so, from your point of view?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay. So how does that look like when you're doing that?
Probably just like he described. Just in his space, touching him, playing with him, joking around.
And so why do you do that?
Hell, I don't know, Wayne. Just being myself and, I feel very close to James. Very close. And,
Are you in love with him?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so, good. Now,
Not in love with him.
huh?
I love him. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in love with him. No. I'm not in love with him.
Okay, so what's the distinction?
Between in love and love?
Yeah.
Damn, I don't know.
Now, you may be speaking for a lot of us, so... you
Yeah,
know.
because I feel like I'm in love with all of you. And very lovely to be in love with all of you. It's beautiful to be in love with all of you. It's just beautiful. Even you, Joyce Stirs.
So, you're making a distinction between love and in love.
Sure.
Okay, so in love would be...
You know, some falling in love, romance, whatever that kind of thing.
Are you in love with anybody?
Not that I know of, no. No.
So now, what James said to you, obviously, it looks like there's going to have to be some modification of behavior.
Well, on my part, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, sure. I'll leave him alone. When he wants to talk to me, he'll come to me. That's what he said. He said he'll talk to me when he wants to. Okay. It's okay with me.
This is kind of a... That's it then?
Well, no. He can't get rid of me. He's stuck with me forever. But if he's not comfortable with me being in his space on my choice, then I'll wait for him.
On your... Okay.
On his choice.
You said my choice.
He's not comfortable with me approaching him,
Right.
so I won't.
So, now this is all in family stuff, obviously. You know, we're all sitting here watching everyone else. Could be you with somebody else, obviously, and has been, by the way, in the past. So is there any leaving James out of here at the present time, is there any feedback from anybody for Joni? Yes.
Well, I heard Wayne ask you how that made you feel. And Joni, you said, well, I wondered, blah, 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 and it was all in your head.
Yes, I was trying to think how it made me
Right.
feel.
But it made you have a thought, Joni. What you said was, I wonder how he would know that was clean. That's not about how you feel, Joni.
Right. I wasn't feeling anything when he was speaking. I was just listening. I wasn't.
Okay.
All I felt
That's
was...
tough for me to
I know.
grok that one.
Well, the
'Cause that
initial
was like,
thought was,
whoa.
oh, this might be tough to hear, but...
Because Joni, I was feeling a lot of stuff when he was
Okay,
talking.
I was
so-
hurt.
Okay.
I was feeling a lot.
Okay, this is one at a time, so hold it a minute. Judy, come here.
You know, I just want to say, because I had the intention
I
to
want you to
listen
sit down here
him.
with Joni, and I want to sit down and be Trudy. Well, not be Trudy, but I'm going to sit down with her. Hey, we're all equal here, folks. So I'd like to Trudy and Joni to have a conversation.
I was feeling a lot when James was saying that. You know, like, wow, this is intense, and I know how you deeply you feel. And so I was kind of being you. I was being you with you. I mean, I was feeling how I was feeling, but I was also, feeling my Joni, how Joni might be feeling too at the same time. And I was feeling like, whoa, tidal wave of stuff coming at you, from this one you love so much, and I know you really love James.
I do love him, and
So I just can't, honey, it's just like, you're telling me I wasn't feeling anything. It's like, that's not Joni who doesn't feel anything. That, Joni feels a ton of stuff.
Right, I do. And in that moment, I felt like James wanted to tell me something. And it was important, obviously, because he was telling it in front of all these people. Right?
Did you start to feel a little bit apprehensive, like, wow, what's coming?
Sure,
Okay, so you felt apprehension.
sure. But because I knew this was important, I knew that I was going to give him my full attention to what he was saying. And I did.
Can you give somebody your full attention and feel at the same time?
I don't know. All I know is I didn't feel anything negative. I felt honored to be able to listen to him. And I'm in agreement that I want our relationship to be clear. So when I heard those words from him, there was an agreement there.
But don't let me put words, but was there confusion? Like, well, how would that
No.
feel if he was clean? How would he know?
No, there's no confusion. There's just wondering. Wonder what that would look like. Not confusion. To him. It felt fine, actually. Love you.
I was just feeling so much.
Were you feeling hurt?
No, just a lot of stuff. Just,
Just as burning?
yeah, like that.
But that's, yeah. So I don't know what that feeling is called.
Okay, so you were feeling something maybe you don't have a name for.
I always just call it fire.
Yeah, I know you do.
All right. Well, there you go.
So you were feeling something.
Sure. I love James tremendously, and he wanted to tell me that. I'm open to him telling me anything. 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 Hmm. So, he doesn't feel our relationship is clean. So, he wants to. I don't know what he wants to do, but I guess he's going to tell me. That's where we were getting to. So I'll give him his space, that's all. It's that simple.
You didn't feel pushed away or anything? Did that happen?
Well, sure, it felt, yeah, he wanted his space. Yes, sure. It didn't feel bad to me to be told that, no.
Okay, good. Let me, a couple things. Oops, excuse me. So, as some of you are watching this interaction, which is obviously real, it's real time, this is really going on, this is not a soap opera. How is it, any reaction, how you're feeling in your gut or your head, or some volunteers to say, what do you see about this interaction going on here?
I
Pat?
saw that Joni would have been hurt at that rejection. I know how she feels, excuse me, about James, that she feels they have a close relationship, and James saying, get away from me. Who wouldn't be hurt? I feel that Joni is denying the pain, the hurt. Feelings, hurt feelings, humiliation feelings. I'm, that's what came up for me, Joni. Knowing all about you.
Just hold it
Okay.
actually. Yeah.
I
Connie.
have to admit, I don't know, maybe I was kind of like Joni. I didn't really feel anything. I mean, there wasn't really a pain. There was just sort of an acceptance that this is what was being felt by him, and allowing him to own that. I didn't feel like I had to own that. You know, so there wasn't really that type of thing. It was just a matter of, okay, that's what he feels, and it's okay. You know, I just didn't have much of anything else.
Dan?
The response, Johnny, you said, what would you think a clean or queer relationship would look like? I guess hearing that, it almost seems like that's either a defense, somebody's saying something to you, oh, I really like clean. Well, what do you think a clean relationship would look at? With somewhat of an implication is, you can't really know what a clean relationship is. What do you think it would look like? So it could be a defense, or if it's not a defense, it could be, well, what would a clean relationship look like? Well, Joni, I think it would be this and this and this. Okay. Well, then all of a sudden, is that something that, you're looking for to do? But I don't think so. I don't think you're looking for, okay, well, if this is what a clean relationship might be, this is how I'm going to act. I think it was more of a defense against the pain, or not letting the pain of that in.
Dana?
I couldn't even watch once James started speaking, because I think all I can say is for me, I don't know what you were feeling, but for me that was like one of the biggest, scariest things I would ever have to hear.
Yes.
When I, if I care deeply about somebody and to feel like they're pushing me back, it seems like something that I would, so embarrassing or humiliating. I wouldn't, oh God, there's me looking needy again, or something like that. That was like a really, I can't imagine not feeling. And one other thing, when you asked about the love versus in love, you made it clear that you weren't in love with James, that you loved him, but then it was very easy to say you were in love with all of us. And then, but no, not in love romantic with. And that kind of went back and forth. It changed. It kept moving right there. The difference between loving and in love. Like I said, that to me that's like one of my biggest fears. And I sat here thinking, this is all coming up for me because I know that's in here. I don't know
this
anything
isn't
else.
just Joni.
Yeah, very much not.
So you're in good company here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sheila?
I had the same feelings Pat had, and I also felt a real dichotomy between James's expression, which felt so passionate to me, and Joni's response, which felt kind of clinical. Not of response in kind. It felt dissonant.
Right. Going over as a kind of, not instead of meeting, going like this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Someone else want to? Peter?
Well, in a way, I'm glad to say this because when I first met you, I had a kind of perplexity that I was a little bit scared of you. And I felt I had such a great relationship with you electronically. But when I first came to G3, I don't know what it was. You were what, I desperately would want to be with you, but you were the one that I avoided. Now, I think this says a lot about me. Being more comfortable with dry, abstract interactions and the idea of love. You manifest love in one way, like physically, what you do with your body, what you do with other people's bodies. and the words you use, lovers, smoochers, smooch on me. And we want to. I want to. I value you so much. I can't begin to say it. So, the thought that I have about you is that you don't know it yet, that you are the last one to know, that you really, really are loved. No questions, no conditions. We don't need any smooching, or smooch, come and smooch on me. We just want to smooch with you all the time.
Okay.
So this is pretty appropriate because this gathering is very important for Joni. For those of you who have been watching closely, I've taken a couple of whacks at her. More than one or two, probably over the last few months. Because it's sort of a time.
Sort of the time, all right, Wayne Austin.
Whacker again.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with him.
Joni. This one
Joni,
I've
you're
told you before,
brittle,
so,
you're
so
brittle,
you know this one I'm
you're
going to say to these
brittle.
people, so just hold on just a second. Sit down here. One day we were sitting in the house, Kay and I and Joni. I don't think anybody else was there. I don't remember. And we were talking about something. I don't remember what we were talking about. But I said something to Joni, and Joni said, "I'm not scared of you." And I was turning around to my computer as she said it. Remember that, Kay? She said, "I'm not afraid of you. I'm not scared or I'm not afraid." One or the other. But I'm not afraid of you. And it's just I was halfway to my computer. I turned around and I said, "You should be." This is what not letting love in looks like. What are you afraid of?
I don't know, Wayne. I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to let you hide anymore, Joni, because you're not, you won't let anything in. I have taken some real swats at you that would probably cut down a PFC in the Marine Corps. And you just kind of looked at me and going, So you don't let anything in. And these people here, Peter said it just about as eloquently as I could ever think anybody could say anything to anybody. We don't need the smooches on me. We don't need the pinches on the cheek. We don't need the uhs. We want a little bit of vulnerability, a little openness. So, in a sense, the game is up. I'm not saying leaving a family, or I'm not saying no one loves you. I'm not saying unsubscribe. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying the jig is up. We see you. You can't hide anymore. You can continue to try. You can continue to try. But that's the value of a family like this. We'll see you with love. And either you will continue to try to hide and not let anything in, or go to the other extreme, let it all in, sort of. We'll see. I had a guy look at me one time when I said, "I don't want to buy your car, it's too much. I don't want to buy it from you." And he looked at me just like you're looking at me.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so we all know that. She is here, that's for sure. She's here.
I don't know what you want me to let in, but I'm willing.
We don't want you to do anything.
Okay, good. I won't do a damn thing. Except love you.
What was that?
Except love you.
Don't even do that.
Okay.
You already love us.
You know, when I was, I might have told this last gathering, so pardon me if I did, I probably did. When I was going through my divorce with Mitchie, and all of you who have been through a divorce know how painful that can be. I mean, some of you it may not have been, but most of us it is, if we've been together for quite a few years. And Mitchie and I had been together when we separated about 25 years or something like that. And most of those 25 years have been damn good years. Damn good years. But when a divorce came and we started arguing and fighting, and like people do, I held a lot of stuff in. I held a lot of stuff in. In other words, it's sort of like when I used to box. You kind of had to hate the guy in order to beat him. You know, you had to sort of hold a certain emotion a certain way so you wouldn't be vulnerable. So in divorces and separations and things like that, you hold something back so you can fight. So I held a lot back. And I held a lot back, but I didn't even know I was holding back. I thought I was all clean and everything. And then one day I was sitting on the floor in the living room in there. And somehow or other something came up for me. I started thinking about Mitchie and the kids. And I don't know why it was. It was one of those moments, I guess, where Iz reached down and touched me, but Kay came by and touched me on the forehead. For no apparent reason, she just said something like, "How are you, Austin?" It was kind of like a tap, and it seemed to open up something, and all of a sudden I started crying. And I started crying like I have never cried before. I cried so hard I had stuff running out of my eyes, nose, almost my ears. I was just sobbing. I couldn't catch my breath. I was in such pain. I was letting it all go. And I just cried and cried and cried and heaved and screamed. Kay was outside when I started. She left and came back in again. She says, "Well, Oz, what's going on?" And I said, "Leave me alone." In other words, don't try and mitigate the pain. Don't try and take the pain away from me. This is the time now. So Kay said something like, "Well, it wasn't all your fault." I said, "I don't want to hear any of that." And I guess for about 2 hours, off and on, I just let it all out. All of it that I've been holding in for such a long, long time. And finally, a few hours later, when I could catch my breath, a sort of a peace descended on me, or came over me, or made itself known. I got up and I picked up the telephone. I called Westminster and I said, "I'm coming down tomorrow." The next day I got in my car. I drove down to Southern California, gathered my family, Mitchie and Cassie and Brett together. And I said, "I'm here for one reason. I'm sorry." And the reason I tell that is because sometimes we're holding pain in so deeply so we can't be hurt, that no one can reach us. We just won't be reached. And the reason we won't be reached is because we've been hurt so badly by this lifetime. Could be by circumstance we were born in, what life has given us. So we sort of harden our soul a little bit, and caring becomes sort of looks like caring. Love starts to look like love. Tears sort of look like tears. We have learned and we believed that what we think about love and what we think about pain is what it is. Because we're so afraid to let it in. I'm like Peter with you. In that sense that I hear you, Joni. I've known you a long time now. I know life hasn't been easy. I know life hasn't been easy for you. But I know there's somebody in there can hear. Don't ever say it again unless you mean it deeply.
I love you. Deeply. Forever. That's simple.
So you've been seen. Maybe for the first time in your life you've been seen. You know, I've seen people come and go in this family. And the ones who leave generally leave because they can't be reached. Or they can be reached and they're afraid of being reached and touched. They're so afraid of being touched deeply because they don't know what will happen to them if they are touched deeply. Maybe they'll fall apart. Maybe they'll be like me that I just described. Maybe they'll die in love. Love is very fearful until you let it in. But I have no time. I have no time for those who just refuse to let it in, and to be slain by it. My time is better spent holding the broken hearts. We'll see. Love does not look like anything. Most of you remember a post I wrote in a few years ago when one of our family left, and I've never forgotten him. But that spurred a post out of me called Love Does Not Look Like Anything. And it doesn't. Love does not look like namaste. Love does not look like tears. Love does not look like white robes. Often love looks like fuck you. But if someone will stand in the fire of love, whatever that means for the person who hears it, then I'll stand with you. I'll stand with you. I'll stand with you. This blessed family, every one of you, every one of you. You know what it is. You know what it is. You have it. It's much easier to go back to a church. It's much easier to pick up a book and read it and try to follow it. It's much easier. It's difficult to be in the presence of it. Reading is always once removed, but speaking it is here now. It's here now. There's no mistaking what we're speaking about. I don't care the words that I'm using. It's here. And you know I love you. And I know you love me. That's the beauty. We don't have to read about it in a book. We don't have to have somebody sitting up in a pulpit reading out about a book what someone said 2,000 years ago. Here it is. First love yourself. First love yourself. If you love yourself, the rest of it takes care of itself. You can't love somebody else until you love yourself, Joni. And I see these pictures of Scotty and his boy. Some of the pictures he sent in, I mean, there's love. Little guy with his father. Doesn't need any words. Then I've seen pictures of famous preachers and famous ministers with their eyes raised to heaven. Bullshit. Bullshit. I see this man over here sitting in the creek with his son.